Hi guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner, and I am so excited to be sharing with you one of the stamp sets that is part of the new additions to the card maker collection at Spellbinders. Partially because these little koalas are just so darn cute. You may have seen the video I did a couple of weeks, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, using the card kit of the month and the cute little koala die, but now we've got some little koala stamps to go along with it, and they are just darling. And the sentiments are so cute too. We've got koala me crazy, but I think I love you. Let's celebrate, let's party, thanks mate, hip hip. I'm thinking that one probably says hooray. Yes, okay, it's covered by a sticker. Sorry about that. It's your special day and you are a koality friend. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp out some of these guys and start working on a card using them. I think it's going to turn out so cute, but we will just have to wait and see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start coloring up these little koalas. They are just adorable. And I'm just using my brown gray markers for this. This is the BG family. And I think what I'm going to do is start with this one because it's going to be the easiest one to do, because you never know for sure how things are going to look until you start working on it, right? So I'm going to use just a little bit of this dark one. So it is a little bit scary dark, and I don't want it to be too dark, but you know, if we want any contrast, you kind of have to take a chance on that. And then I've got my BG1 as my lightest, and it is very, very light too. So I'm hoping it's just going to help pull out some of that dark and just add that contrast to my little koala bear. I may need to come back in with one of the medium tones to kind of blend them out a little bit better. And I think that is what I'm going to have to do with this. So let me grab one. We'll try BG2. Yeah, that looks like that would go pretty well. So I'm just going to use that one to kind of pull some of that dark color into the light without being too overwhelming. That looks pretty good, I think. And then go right back over it with some of the lighter. Okay, I did adjust the color on my camera a little bit because you couldn't really tell that this was like a warm brown. It was looking very, very cold, so I went ahead and did that. And I think I do want to have his tummy be that lighter shade. Oh, that looks pretty good. So for his little nose, let's see, I'm going to start off with on the outside of the nose because his nose is going to be black. So I'm going to try just using one of these dark gray, almost black markers for the edges, and then try to get a little bit of a highlight in the center. And if it doesn't work out, I could just color the whole thing in black. And I'm going to come with a little bit of a lighter. So this one is IG4 and IG6. So I've got my first little koala done. I'm going to go ahead and color up the other ones using the same basic techniques. So next I'm going to work on the hat and the flowers and such, and for that I'm doing some pink and some purple. I'm using HB2 because it's the closest to the kind of purple that I'm wanting, and I'm using PP1 because it's a real nice light pink. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the little hat. That's probably going to be the easiest route to go. And to give it a little bit of dimension, I'm going to use actually a gray marker. Now this is just going to add a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of shading along the edges to kind of give it that rounded look. And it's going to make it easier for me to work with the little stripes and still have a little bit of, actually that looks perfect. I'm just going to go with that. But it's going to actually basically give it a little bit of a darker tone near the edges, because I've got that gray there. So let me go on with the HB, and this one is a darker color, so I don't know if it's actually gonna, that gray is gonna actually help, but we shall see. And even if it doesn't, you can still see it on with the pink. I think that looks pretty cute. We add a little bit more pink closer to the rim. There we go. And his little hat is done, and now I can go in and do the same kind of thing with the flowers. I think what I'm going to do with the flowers, I'm going to have them pink with the purple centers, because that's going to be easier in case there's any kind of bleeding, and it'll take me less time to just color up all of those pink little flowers. Now I am going over the leaves too. I figure I can go back and pick those up after the fact, just adding a little bit of the green over the top, and that should still be fine. So now I'm just going to put a little dot in the center of each of those flowers, and now the flowers match the hat. Yeah, I think AG2 is AG3, sorry. It's a little bit darker, so that should be about the right color for my little leaves here. And I'm just adding a few of those in. I mean, they're not a bunch on here, and sometimes it's hard to see enough to tell where the leaves are supposed to be compared to where the blooms are, right? And I'm going to do the same kind of coloring on the maracas. Next I'm going to work on our little, I think it's supposed to be eucalyptus, but to me it looks like bamboo, so I'm going to work with those. We aren't going to worry about what they're called, we're just going to go with it. So I'm coloring the green part in, and then I'll go back with some darker around the edges, and then I think I'm going to also go with some brown for the for the poles. And I really don't know whether or not these are supposed to be lighter on the inside or lighter on the outside, but we're just going to go with it. And I think I'm going to start off with a medium brown. I think this might actually be darker than what the lid says. Nope, this is actually pretty light. That's good. So I'll start off with that. Then, and I'm going to come up from each of those little knobs and out into the center, because it does look like and to me it looks like the combs of a bamboo. And I will blend those back out just a little bit. Okay, so now we've got a couple of little birds that I'm not real sure what to do with. I'm thinking that the parrot, I'm going to make him be a green parrot. I'm going to wing it, okay? So the CT2 I'm going to use for the darker tone, darker color. Okay, and then coming in with CT1 as my lighter. So he's got a bright yellow beak. So this one here that I'm using is my AG2. And for my little parrot, I'm not going to do a lot of shading on it, but I always got to do a little. And then I'm going to use my AG1 as the lighter color, and it's real close to the AG2, so It's not really going to be that noticeable, I don't think, which to me means I've got to come back in with a darker color. Let's see, AG3, how's that one look? That looks dark enough. Let me go ahead and add this one in as my darker so that at least it is visible. And then back in with the AG1. And now I've got a little green parrot. Okay, so now I've got this little bird, and I think I'm just going to go with blue. Okay, so I'll go with my TB, so this is True Blue 3. This one is going to be the shadow. And then my highlight. And then back to the citrusy CTs. I'll go with the CT1 for his little beak. Okay, next all I need to do is die cut everything out. Okay, so I went ahead and I grabbed out the Koala Smiles paper pack from Spellbinders. This was in the card kit of the month last month, and I've barely touched it, but I wanted to use that with these cute koalas. So the 2 pages that I'm going to be using, look at this one. It's wood grain, but it's one of those Australian woods. It's got different colors and stuff in it. This is just absolutely gorgeous. And believe it or not, it's kind of got some pink and it's kind of got some purple. So that is going to be for at least one of my little partying koalas. I'm going to go ahead and get this put down onto my card base. I'm using some card bases that I've had in my stash for a while. They are gray and they are top fold. I mean, look at this. I don't do top fold cards very often, but I'm going to go ahead and do it this time. Go ahead and mount this down. I cut these panels down to 4 by 5 1/4, so it'll leave that little, if I can get it straight, that little border all the way around. And then I also used my Fluted Classics ovals. I love this die set, but I used that to cut that out. I'd stamped and colored my little trees on a regular piece of cardstock, a regular A2 size, and I just cut that out. This is going to look adorable. And I do think I want to put it kind of centered. I think it'll look better centered, and of course, popped up on some foam. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add these now that they've had time for the one side of the foam to dry. So I'm going to start off with this little guy with the maracas. And since I already popped up that panel on some foam, I'm just going to put this down flat onto that popped up panel so it doesn't have too much dimension. Okay. And then our little guy with the lay around his neck. Okay, and then let's celebrate. And I think I'm going to add that little bird right up there. So that's one card done. Now I'm going to add these little guys. Okay, and where can I put my little bird? That is going to be cute. I'm going to put him right on the sentiments. Let me go ahead and add some glue to the back of the sentiments. Okay, so this one says, "It's your special day." That's going to go down here, and I moved it over just a little bit to give a little bit more room for my bird. So it looks like he's perched right on this sentiment. That is going to be too cute. There we go. And then we've got "Let's Party." That's going to go right up there. And I've got some trees and some of the sentiments left over, but I've already got 2 cute cards using that quality Playful Koalas, the Playful Koala stamp sets from Spellbinders. Be sure to check out this playlist over here if you want to see some more videos where I'm using some Spellbinders products. And you have a wonderful day. And remember, if I can make it, you can too. Have a great day.